Welcome to our channel again. Today we have Hyundai i30 with 1.6 CRDI 16 valve engine, and the vehicle came to our garage with a charging system problem. So okay, as you can see, the battery sign comes on the dashboard, and there is no problem in the charging system, so the alternator is charging properly, and also the battery has 12.3 to 12.6 volt. So if we scan the vehicle, we have got this fault code. As you can see, it says the battery management system BMS auto recognition implausible, as you can see here. So this is the fault code that we have, and also, as you can see, the battery sign stays on the dashboard. Now I will show you, and I'm going to drive the vehicle for a short distance, and you will see that the battery malfunction sign is illuminating on the dashboard, on and off, and in spite of that, the charging system is working properly, but the battery malfunction sign stays on the dashboard. Okay, as you can see, I'm driving the vehicle, but the battery sign is illuminating on the dashboard. Okay, now the battery sign went off, so sometime it comes on, sometime off. So back in the garage, this is the battery voltage, as you can see, 14.3, and also I'm going to show you the battery voltage with the engine off. This is the battery voltage. I have just turned the engine off, so with just the engine turned off, this is the battery voltage. So actually we got problem on this battery monitoring sensor. So this is the sensor which monitors the battery temperature and also the current flow on the electrical system. So we are going to investigate this together. Okay, with the ignition off, as you can see now, the battery status has changed. As you can see, the battery voltage has changed from 6 volts to 12.8, and also the battery temperature has changed from I'm not sure how much was it. I think it was 166.9, and it has changed now to 66.2 Fahrenheit. And if I start the engine, the battery sign is going to go off immediately, and also the current flow is still not as you can see now. The current flow is being registered, that it says that 25 point. So this is sometime working, sometime is not working, as you see here. And also the battery sign comes on the dashboard and sometime goes out. So now everything is functioning correctly. Okay, if I turn the engine off, I have turned the engine off. The engine off. As you can see, I have just turned the ignition is fully off. So ignition is at zero position, and let me turn the ignition on. So as you can see, I have just turned the ignition on. So the scanner froze in the last screen when the scanner is disconnected from the vehicle. As you can see now, I have turned the ignition on. The ignition is on, and as you can see, the scanner is registering wrong information again. As you can see, the current flow is 0. The battery voltage is showing 6, and the battery temperature is 189. Previously I mentioned 166, so sorry for that. So it's actually now registering 189.5 degrees of Fahrenheit. Now I'm going to start the vehicle. So I have started the vehicle, and as you can see, it's still registering wrong information. So now this information will be continued. So until you cycle the ignition, sometime when you cycle the ignition off, and then from off to on, this information will change, but most of the time stays as it is right now. So the ECU is receiving information that the temperature of the battery is extremely high, 189.5 Fahrenheit, and the voltage is 6 volts. Battery voltage is 6 volt, and as you can see, the alternator output voltage is not registering at all, and the engine is running, as you can see, and the battery sign has come on again. As you can see, the battery sign has come on again. And this is the voltage. So if I cycle the ignition, so I'm going, as you can see, the battery sign went off and it comes again on. So as you can see, sign went off, battery malfunction sign went off, and now it has just come on again, as you can see. And this is the information on the scanner screen. As you can see, the engine is running. Yeah, the battery sign went off. The battery sign has come on again, the malfunction sign, but here nothing is changing. So now I'm going to cycle the battery from run to off. So as you can see, the engine has turned off, ignition also off, but here this is the last screen which I just turned the ignition to off position. So if I turn the ignition to on, now I have just turned the ignition to on position. So if I go back to okay, as you can see, when I cycle the key a few times, and now as you can see, the current flow is registering, and the right value of the voltage is registering on the scanner screen, and also the battery temperature, as you can see, it has reduced from 189 degrees of Fahrenheit to 68, and also the state of the state of charge of the battery is, it has gone to 74%, and as you can see, status of health of the battery 100%, as you can see here. So this is the problem we are going to investigate and rectify. This is the battery monitoring sensor. Okay, as you can see, This is the waveform that the sensor is producing while the sensor is at fault. Okay, this is the signal with the ignition on, engine off. This is the battery monitoring sensor signal, and the lap scope positive lead is connected to the ECU side of the connector, so to the pin or the wire which is connected to the ECU. So this is the signal with the engine off, ignition on. Now I'm going to start the engine and then we will see. So right now the scan tool is showing only the battery temperature or the battery temperature condition. As you can see, it's showing 0 amps, and the battery temperature has gone. As you can see, when the sensor is producing wrong signal, as you can see, the battery temperature is showing on the scanner 87.5 degrees of Celsius. So, and also the battery voltage is showing 6,000 millivolts or 6 volts. So this is the problem with this vehicle. And also when I start the engine, the battery sign comes on and off on the dashboard. And also if I take you here, this is the fault code that we have. As you can see, this is the fault code. If I take you back to the live data, so I'm going to take you back to the live data. It's going to be battery voltage, battery current, battery temperature, battery voltage. So if I select this, so as you can see, I have information on the scan tool. This is the information on the scan tool. As you can see, the battery temperature is being shown here 87.5 5 degrees of Celsius, which is incorrect. And also battery voltage here on the second line from the bottom, showing 12.5 or 1000 or 12,504 millivolts, and battery voltage at the bottom line here can be shown 6,000 millivolt, which is no good at all. So now I'm going to start the engine, and also you saw that with the ignition on, engine off, you saw the signal of the battery monitoring sensor signal. So now I'm going to start the engine. Okay, I have start the engine. The engine is running, but the battery is showing the battery's current is 0, and the battery temperature is also 87.500, which is incorrect. And also the battery voltage at the bottom, here, it is showing 6,000 millivolts. So now I'm going to take you back to the battery monitoring sensor signal on the lab scope. This is the signal on the lab scope. I think it's still the same signal as the engine was off and the ignition was on. And also when I check the pen data, let me show you there the pen data, and it says that cannot be checked because it has a random signal. I'm going to show you that too. Okay, as you can see, this is the battery condition sensor, and if I zoom that out, so if I trace the sensor wire, this is one, I'm not sure whether it's pen 1 or 2, but as you can see, the wire is connected straight to the battery 30 terminal, so to the permanent live of the power side. So, and also if I zoom that in right now, so as you can see, the other end, which is the gray wire, is connected to the engine control module connector A pin 41. So connector A pin 41. So now if I take you to the pen data, as you can see here, battery condition sensor, and it's A41, and it says connected pen not test, data available or random digital signal, so that cannot be tested. So anyway, the only test that we can do is going to be the comparison. So we are going to compare that with the engine running, and also we are going to compare that with the ignition on, engine off, and the engine on, ignition on too. So engine running, ignition on, engine off, ignition on. So as I have shown you both signals. Okay, now I'm going to show you scan tool screen once again. As you can see, it's the engine is running. As you can see here, the engine is running, and the battery current is 0 milliamp, which is incorrect. So you can see the battery temperature sensor is 87.5 degrees of Celsius, and the current is being shown 0 milliamps. And the bottom line, as you can see, it's 6,000 milliamps or 6,000 millivolts or 6 volts, as you can see. So now I'm going to show you here. This is the battery voltage. As you can see, this is the battery voltage, and also I'm going to show you the battery temperature as well. As you can see, it's 20 degrees of Celsius, the battery temperature. So this time I'm going to disconnect the battery and thoroughly clean the battery post or battery terminal, and also the wiring side terminal here. So the battery male terminal and the wire female terminal, in case there is any problem, because as you can see, and from the engine bay, this engine bay, this area has been washed. Okay, I have disconnected the battery terminal, and as you can see, it's completely clean, no rust whatsoever. So I'm going to connect that back. Okay, so I'm going to turn the ignition on. Ignition on again, and let me take this here because the scanner screen is going to be blurred over there. So it's still showing wrong information. So let me start the engine again, see if that's changed. I'm going to start the engine. So I have started the engine. Now it is working. As you can see, it's showing now battery temperature 23 degrees of Celsius. Battery voltage, second line from the bottom, is 14,000. So I'm going to change that both. So now, as you can see, the bottom line, it used to show 6 volt, now it's showing 13.75, and the alternator, actually the I'm not sure whether, I think the bottom one, or not sure which one is the alternator voltage output, or one, no idea, because it says AMS, but I'm not sure what AMS means. So as you can see, I think the second line from the bottom is going to be the alternator output, and the bottom one is going to be the battery voltage, excuse me. And as you can see, let me change this to amps as well, from milliamps. As you can see now, the battery current is monitored by the sensor is 25.5 amps. So this is the intermittent problem. So sometimes as I have shown you that sometimes it's incorrect, and the battery temperature is showing by the sensor 87 degrees of Celsius, which is unacceptable. And also the bottom line sometime is being shown by the battery monitoring sensor as 6 volt. So now, with the sensor functioning correctly, this is the signal form. As you can see, this is the signal when the sensor is not functioning as look. Hey, everybody wash the engine. Still water inside, as you can see. Okay, now I'm going to thoroughly clean this and rust free.
Used this to contact cleaner and WD-40. Unfortunately, one pen was just slightly connected to the internal part of its pen. So one pen was just slightly connected to its internal part, so it was completely broken. So for this reason I couldn't record, and I was a bit nervous, so I put this connector very gently. But anyway, if this time this connector has to be removed for any reason, so this ECU has to be replaced or refurbished, because the connector is very rusty, and it's this time if you remove the connector, this connector, so that the chances 100% the connector is going to be splitted, the pen is going to be splitted from the internal part of the ECU. So the male connector, the male pen, so far so good. Engine is running. And let me no, so let me check here. It's all right. No battery sign anymore. So the only thing which made me upset, because the connector, the pen inside the connector was ruined or decayed by rust, so it was wobbling every side. So I was just able to put that gently, and this is going to be the last time for this connector to be put in. So next time whoever remove this connector from the ECU, that the ECU has to be replaced or refurbished, because the pen, the male pen from the ECU side is going to be stuck in the female connector. So the male pen from the ECU side is going to be stuck inside the female, or the wiring side, or the wiring harness connector, if someone wants to remove that. Okay, this is after the repair. As you can see, the signal is much clearer now. So as you can see, minimum to 0.88 and the maximum is 14.2 01. This is life is 1154. So if I freeze that, then show the cursor. So as you can see, cursor 2 is showing 1.03 volts, and the cursor 1, which is this one, it's showing 13.78 volts. So, and as you can see, the signal is very clear. It's very clear. So I'm going to rev the engine. So I'm going to hide the cursor. Now I'm going to rev the engine, and you watch. Okay, let me freeze this. So I don't know if there is any. Now I'm going to put some load on the alternator, so to increase the current flow from the battery. Okay, I have increased the current flow from the battery. I have put the heater on, the wipers on to a full speed, the headlights on. So this is the signal that we have got from the battery monitoring sensor. So this is the sensor. This sensor monitors the current flow, temperature of the battery, and the voltage of the battery. So three function this sensor does. One is the current flow, battery temperature, and voltage monitoring. So as you can see, the purple wire this one is the purple one. This side is permanent light from the battery 30 terminal coming to the sensor here, and this gray one, this gray color wire is output from the sensor to the ECU. So the rust was created here, and the sensor was not fully grounding to the ECU side. As you can see, the vehicle is driving nice and smooth. So no battery warning light on the dashboard.